I was told by the student of a very prominent and actually fabulous anthropologist that his rule of thumb was never do field work in the same place twice. Always go to a new place. And what's the reason for that? Well, one of the reasons is you always find new problems, so it's always interesting. You expand your range, and it gives you a chance to try out, test out your framework in different kinds of circumstances. And the idea, too, was that that's one of the ways in which theory grows. I understand the logic of that, but I don't buy it for myself. What I'll say for myself is, first of all, the half-life of theories in anthropology is extremely brief. Things that were must-reads even 5 years ago are you can't sell in the bookstores now, right? That's just what academic life is like. So the value, what's valuable now in terms of academic or theoretical frameworks may or may not have any value 5 or 10 years from now. But the people that we work with, that doesn't change. Their value remains. The other thing is, if you return, it's guaranteed that you will get surprises because things don't stop changing. Things don't happen. So you're always catching up, always trying to figure out what's happening, as most of the people on the ground are trying to do as well. And that's really an awful lot of what the truth is like for life, probably not just this century or the past, but for a long time. But in any case, my choice, and partly it was I was induced to it by people saying, you got to help us. But my choice was to stick with the place and come what may. And I've never regretted that. I would never do it any other way. So my affection for my affinity for mobile media and for the internet has been quite helpful, because I now exchange messages with friends, or rather the grandchildren of friends, on the internet several times a week. We're in touch. I find out what's going on. I probably have as good an idea as some things as I might if I were there. And it does make some difference to me how things are going for them. And I can't see it could be any other way. So I don't have any expectation of permanence, but I think it's always useful. And that kind of relationship is a good thing to keep on going. I also think that anthropology has to earn its own keep, and there are various ways. And I would say partly for the individual researcher, it is we whether we realize it or not, we have a tacit bargain with the people we work with that our presence there is not going to be something they'll regret. They shouldn't have cause to regret extending hospitality or kindness or whatever to us when we're there. That's one of the things we owe them. We owe them many things, but that's one of them. At the same time, we also have things we owe the discipline and our colleagues, and one of them is institutional work. We have various kinds of associations, and the big ones are the Royal Anthropological Institute, for example, the American Anthropological Association. These are very, very large outfits, and so on. And we get a lot of benefit ourselves through that, but also they're smaller associations, either smaller in terms of the region that they cover or the region that they're based in. There's CASCA, the Canadian Anthropology Society, which is, at least in principle, a bilingual association in Canada, and it's really done an immense amount of work to vivify anthropology in Canada. And I think it deserves our support and our recognition. That's a good thing to do. I have to say I haven't done a lot for CASCA, but I did serve at one point as a book review editor for the journal, and that was good. And I have published in there as well, and I do recommend it to my students, and especially because students who walk into my classes aren't necessarily interested in Papua New Guinea. I hope they are by the time they leave, but even so, they have a lot of other parts of the world to be concerned about, and to be able to point to somebody that they have access to who's actually working where they want to find out where they want to work, or working in a place that they need to find out about, or even working in a place that they have a personal link to. That's a good thing to be able to do. And in our own neighborhood, very big neighborhood, Canada is a very big neighborhood, but in our own neighborhood, that's an excellent thing. For me, ASAO, the Association of Social Anthropology in Oceania, has been a godsend because I have to say I was very fortunate because the department I went to, which I stayed for my career, when I first showed up there, I had, if I can recall, three other Pacific colleagues in the same department. We weren't planning to make it a Pacific department. That's just how it worked out. But it meant that you always had a ready audience, and that was good too. But ASAO is the kind of things that we talk about that would probably bore anybody else. We can actually find an audience of people who might care about these things or have ideas about these things in ways that are useful to us. And I've always found ASAO to be incredibly supportive, very, very stimulating. And I've found both colleagues and not just contacts, but work I probably would not have come across if I hadn't found the lead to it there to begin with. I'm very proud to have had a hand with a colleague who's carried almost all the work, Mike Lieber, in founding something which is now coming to an end, but something called ASAOnet, which was an online listserv for ASAO, and that's how we would talk about what was going on, what we were thinking about, what we're planning, if we're planning working in a new area, what I have to worry about, who's got a contact here, who's got a contact there, or what do you think about this idea? Let's run with that. And it's been incredibly stimulating. I think this is also true in one's institutional environment, the university. In my own department, I ended up, as a friend once said, getting stuck with becoming departmental chair for a couple of terms. It was useful. One gets to learn the department, gets to learn to know the department in a way that one wouldn't get to know any other way. Not always a bad thing either. One gets to know more about administration, probably more than you would ever like, but somebody's got to find out about that. And to work on behalf not only of our colleagues, but of the people for our constituency, which are our students and the public at large. And I also did something else which I think contributed to the same kind of thing, although others differ with me on that. I also served as president of our faculty union for a term, and that was very useful. I think it helped not only me or anthropologists or even students, but also the university as a whole. And with that union, we've made a lot of work, a lot of progress on things that are good for the entire institution. It probably wouldn't have happened any other way. So those are all things that are worthwhile. And if people would ask me if I ever wanted to do anything different, I think the only thing I would say is I'd probably just do more. But I've never regretted it. It's been good. It's been fabulous stuff. So I think with that, I'll close and say thank you very much. This has been fun.